Section 1. Listening Comprehension. In this section of the test, you will have an opportunity to demonstrate your ability to understand conversations and talks in English. There are 3 parts to this section, with special directions for each part. Answer all the questions on the basis of what is stated or implied by the speakers in this test. Do not take notes or write in your test book at any time. Do not turn the pages until you are told to do so. Part A. Directions. In Part A, you will hear short conversations between 2 people. After each conversation, you will hear a question about the conversation. The conversations and questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Here is an example. On the recording, you hear,
"I don't like this painting very much."
Neither do I.
"What does the man mean?" In your test book, you read, A. He does not like the painting either. B. He does not know how to paint. C. He does not have any paintings. D. He does not know what to do. You learn from the conversation that neither the man nor the woman likes the painting. The best answer to the question, "What does the man mean?" is A. He does not like the painting either. Therefore, the correct choice is A. Go on to the next page. Now we will begin Part A with the first conversation.
Number 1.
No, I asked you to get me the economics test book, not the textbook.
Oh, no wonder the cashier looked at me that way.
What can be inferred about the man? Number 2.
You did an excellent job on that presentation.
Thanks. I put a lot of time into it.
What does the woman mean? Number 3.
I can't find my wallet, and it has more than $100 in it.
Calm down a minute. Have you checked the coat you had on this morning?
What does the woman suggest the man do? Number 4.
I waited for you at the library for more than 30 minutes yesterday. Weren't we supposed to meet at noon?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I've been so wrapped up in my science project, it just slipped my mind.
What does the man mean? Number 5.
This is the most boring dormitory party I've ever been to.
It certainly could use some livening up.
What does the man imply? Number 6.
I've got 3 exams tomorrow. I can't possibly study for all of them.
I'm just glad I'm not in your shoes.
What does the woman mean? Number 7.
My roommate Karen makes the best salads. I don't understand why mine never taste as good as hers.
It's not such a mystery. She's a vegetarian and has simply perfected the art.
What does the man mean? Number 8.
Do you think you could help me get a new couch into my apartment this weekend?
Didn't you make arrangements to have it delivered? That'd be easier, and it's free.
What does the man suggest the woman do? Number 9.
The opening of the new photo exhibit was great. I thought you said you were coming too, to meet the artist.
Oh, no. That was last weekend?
What can be inferred about the man? Number 10.
Are you going to buy that? I'm not sure I like it on you.
Well, it is comfortable. Perfect for our trip. Maybe I'd better find a mirror so I can see how it looks.
What is the man doing? Number 11.
I can't figure out why I can't get my computer to print.
Did you check the cables? Sometimes they just get loose.
What does the woman suggest the man do? Number 12.
I'm going out to the golf course this afternoon. Would you like to come along? I could use a few pointers on my game.
I'd be glad to, but I'm not sure what I could show you.
What does the man mean? Number 13.
I think I'll take 3 of these tablets. My head is killing me.
You'd better read the label carefully first.
What does the woman imply the man should do? Number 14.
I thought you weren't planning to come home for supper.
Oh, but I was.
What does the woman mean? Number 15.
I'm really looking forward to taking up piano this semester.
I hope you do better than I did when I took lessons. I just don't have an ear for music.
What does the woman mean? Number 16.
Did you pick up some French bread at the bakery?
A sign on the window said closed. Please call again.
What does the man mean? Number 17.
I'm nervous about the job interview I have this afternoon.
Relax. Just let them know about your background. It's perfect for the job.
What does the woman suggest the man do? Number 18.
I really don't see the value of these modern paintings. They look like the kind of pictures my 4-year-old nephew paints.
And I'll bet he uses brighter colors, too.
What can be inferred about the speakers? Number 19.
Are you flying or taking the train home for the summer?
Neither. Since I've got this job at the university library, my parents are just going to come visit sometime in July.
What does the woman mean? Number 20.
Do you have any idea when tonight's rehearsal will be over?
Beats me. You could try asking Jeff.
What does the man mean?
Go on to the next page.
Number 21.
The music we were playing last night didn't disturb you, did it?
I was trying to get some work done.
What does the man imply about the music? Number 22.
The election's tomorrow. Do you want to help me put up some more campaign posters?
I don't see why we should bother. The people who are going to vote have already made up their minds.
What does the man imply? Number 23.
Jessie's doing well in chemistry now, isn't she?
Yes, she's really come a long way.
What does the man say about Jessie? Number 24.
I give up. I'll never learn how to ski as well as you.
Don't be discouraged. Remember, I practically grew up on skis.
What does the woman imply? Number 25.
Your neighbors used to grow the most wonderful peaches.
You have a good memory. The tree went down in a storm a few years ago, and I'd completely forgotten about it.
What does the man imply? Number 26.
Jack's plan to move across the country and start his own business is really brave, but I hope he knows what he's doing.
Oh, I know. I can't help but wonder how he's ever going to manage it.
What does the man mean? Number 27.
I hear that Professor Jones is going to be on the news tonight. Could I come over and watch it?
Well, a bunch of us from class are going to go over to Dave's to watch it. Want to join us?
What will the speakers probably do this evening? Number 28.
I've been combing the classifieds for an apartment.
I think there are some good rentals on the bulletin board outside the student center.
What does the man suggest the woman do? Number 29.
Look at it pour. So much for our tennis game.
Yeah, and since it's supposed to keep up all night, we ought to forget about tomorrow's lunch game, too.
What does the man imply? Number 30.
The phone will be installed tomorrow.
Oh, so you did order it.
What had the woman assumed?
This is the end of Part A. Go on to the next page. Part B. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear longer conversations. After each conversation, you will hear several questions. The conversations and questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Now we will begin Part B with the first conversation.
Questions 31 through 34. Listen to a conversation between 2 students.
So, how was the singing competition last weekend?
You don't want to know.
What do you mean? Wasn't it near the beach? That should have been fun.
It should have been fun, but we only came in second place. Not only that, but we weren't even really able to enjoy the beach either.
Hold on. You're upset about finishing second? How many singing groups competed?
About 30. I know second place sounds okay, but that's 3 years in a row we've been in second, and it's the same group that's beaten us 3 years in a row.
Well, that's too bad. But what about the beach? I ended up spending a lot of time studying in the library. I would have loved to be at the beach swimming in the ocean or playing beach volleyball instead of being stuck in the library studying.
Well, it wasn't exactly like that. I had to spend some time studying, too. We really didn't have much free time. We were scheduled almost the whole time, practicing, performing, or watching the competition.
So you were that busy?
Yeah. But you know, the ocean water's still cold, so I don't think we really missed too much.
Well, maybe you guys should plan to go back when the semester's over.
Yep, that's exactly what we have in mind. It should be a lot more fun there when the weather warms up, and we don't have to think about competing.
Number 31. What are the students mainly discussing? Number 32. What does the woman say about the winners of the competition? Number 33. How did the man spend his weekend? Number 34. What does the woman say about her weekend schedule? Questions 35 through 37. Listen to a conversation between a student and an art professor.
Professor, I really like those sculptures by Brancusi. They have such simple, elegant lines.
Yes, they do.
Were there any other sculptors doing work like that?
Well, yes. There was a sculptor named Isamu Noguchi. Noguchi actually worked in Brancusi's studio for a time, so Brancusi was one of several important influences on his work.
Okay.
Noguchi was born in 1904 in California. His mother was an American writer, and his father was a Japanese poet. And during his childhood, Noguchi lived in Japan. And when his mother hired a carpenter to build a house there, Noguchi helped out, and in the process came to love working with wood and other natural materials.
Okay.
Well, later, he returned to the United States and became an artist, then went to Paris, where he worked for Brancusi.
So Brancusi taught him the art of sculpting?
Yes, and a commitment to strict economy in his art.
Economy?
Yes, but not in the usual financial sense. In this case, the term economy refers to stripping away unnecessary details, emphasizing the artwork's basic form.
Oh, okay.
Also, after Noguchi had studied under Brancusi for a while, he took a trip back to Japan. And on that trip, he studied some traditional Japanese gardens, and he noticed how stone was used to create a very simple but elegant open space. So these gardens halfway around the world actually shared some of the defining characteristics of Brancusi's sculptures.
And probably reinforced and, further shaped the concept of economy in Noguchi's mind.
Undoubtedly.
Number 35. What is the conversation mainly about? Number 36. What kind of work did Noguchi's father do? Number 37. According to the professor, what did Noguchi learn to do when he was a child in Japan?
This is the end of Part B. Now read along as the directions for Part C are being read. Part C. Directions. In this part of the test you will hear several short talks. After each talk you will hear some questions. The talks and the questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Here is an example. On the recording you hear, "Listen to an instructor talk to his class about a television program."
I'd like to tell you about an interesting TV program that'll be shown this coming Thursday. It'll be on from 9 to 10 p.m. on Channel 4. It's part of a series called Mysteries of Human Biology. The subject of the program is the human brain, how it functions and how it can malfunction. Topics that will be covered are dreams, memory, and depression. These topics are illustrated with outstanding computer animation that makes the explanations easy to follow. Make an effort to see this show. Since we've been studying the nervous system in class, I know you'll find it very helpful.
Now, listen to a sample question. What is the main purpose of the program? In your test book, you read, A. To demonstrate the latest use of computer graphics. B. To discuss the possibility of an economic depression. C. To explain the workings of the brain. D. To dramatize a famous mystery story. The best answer to the question, "What is the main purpose of the program?" is C. To explain the workings of the brain. Therefore, the correct choice is C. Now listen to another sample question. Why does the speaker recommend watching the program? In your test book, you read, A. It is required of all science majors. B. It will never be shown again. C. It can help viewers improve their memory skills. D. It will help with coursework. The best answer to the question, "Why does the speaker recommend watching the program?" is D. It will help with coursework. Therefore, the correct choice is D. Now we will begin Part C with the first talk.
Questions 38 through 41. Listen to part of a lecture in a marketing class.
Senses play an important role in consumer decision-making. Shoppers like to sniff a piece of fish or listen to a stereo before buying it. But the power of touch was not fully understood by researchers until recently. Evidence is showing that consumers who are able to handle merchandise are more likely to buy it and pay more for it. Shoppers touch for various reasons. There's fact-finding touch, like turning a food container to read the list of ingredients, or picking an item up to assess its specific attributes, such as weight, texture, or temperature. There's also touch for its own sake, 'Cause it feels nice to say, run your fingers along a shiny table. Psychologically, touching an item fosters a sense of ownership, which makes it more difficult to resist buying it. So it makes sense when retailers display sweaters on shelves rather than in protective plastic bags. One unexpected finding of this research is that, in terms of generating sales, imagined touch is just as effective as actual touch. That's good to know if you're writing descriptions of items sold online. The need to touch varies. Shoppers whose need to touch is high, they tend to buy more when touching is encouraged. In one experiment, researchers placed a Feel the Freshness sign on a fruit display. All shoppers were more likely to touch the fruit when the sign was there than when it wasn't. But shoppers who ranked higher in the need to touch were more likely to buy the fruit they touched.
Number 38. What is the main purpose of the lecture? Number 39. According to the professor, what psychological feeling do shoppers tend to have when they touch an item of merchandise? Number 40. What does the professor imply about marketers who sell items online? Number 41. What does the professor emphasize as an important characteristic of shoppers? Questions 42 through 46. Listen to part of a talk in a history class.
Let me warn you against a mistake that historians often make. They sometimes assume that people in the past used the same concepts we do. There's a wonderful example that made news in the history of mathematics a while ago. It concerns an ancient Mesopotamian tablet that had some calculations on it. Sophisticated calculations that looked like measurements of triangles. So that's what many historians assumed they were. And if the Mesopotamians knew how to use these calculations, and historians started thinking that they did, that meant their math was incredibly advanced. Well, it turns out that the idea that Mesopotamians used sophisticated methods to calculate the measurements of triangles is probably wrong. Why do we think that? Because we discovered that Mesopotamians didn't know how to measure angles, which is a crucial element in the whole process of triangle calculations. Apparently, the Mesopotamians had a number of other uses for the calculations on the tablet. These other uses were important, but they were not related to triangles. And so these tablets, in all likelihood, were practice sheets, if you like, for doing math exercises. In all likelihood, it was the ancient Greeks who first calculated the measurements of triangles. And this was hundreds of years after the Mesopotamians.
Number 42. What is the main purpose of the talk? Number 43. What was on the Mesopotamian tablet mentioned in the talk? Number 44. According to the professor, what had been assumed about the Mesopotamians? Number 45. According to the professor, how was the tablet most likely used by the Mesopotamians? Number 46. What does the professor imply about the ancient Greeks? Questions 47 through 50. Listen to part of a talk in a biology class.
A really surprising discovery was made up in Canada recently. Some fossilized animal footprints they found in some sandstone there. So why is that exciting? Well, this sandstone is really old, and so the footprints are too. Older, by about 40 million years, they think, than any footprints ever found of animals that walked on land. Since we believe that land animals originally emerged from the sea, well, this shows the move from sea to land happened way earlier than we thought, 40 million years earlier, and that's a lot. And finding these fossils was sheer luck. There were these Canadian stone cutters cutting up sandstone to use as a building material, and apparently this stone with the fossil prints wasn't smooth enough to use. So the workers rejected it for building use, and the discarded stone lay there for years before anyone who could recognize its true importance was lucky enough to lay eyes on it. Now, how do we know these impressions were made by animals on land, not still back in the sea walking on the sea floor? Well, the footprints look too deep to be made underwater, 'cause underwater you're buoyant and your footsteps are lighter. So any tracks wouldn't be as deep. But how could sea animals end up doing better by moving onto land? Well, the sea was full of dangerous predators that would attack their young. So one theory is that land offered them a safer place to reproduce, a greater chance to have their young survive.
Number 47. What is the talk mainly about? Number 48. According to the professor, what question does the discovery in Canada help answer? Number 49. Why does the professor mention stone cutters? Number 50. What evidence is given to show whether the footprints were made by animals on land or underwater?
This is the end of Section 1, Listening Comprehension. Stop work on Section 1.